When you see Matt Grissom and Quentin Mills, you know what time it is. It's time to fire that pigskin and throw it 99 on the black. A little college baseball conversation here on Chicken Dinner. The boys have just pumped out another great product called the Diamond Report, which you can find on thediamondreport.com. Only 200 plus pages to get you prepped and ready for the test that is college baseball. And guys, I'm looking at the board right now on Tuesday night as we tape this. There's 20 games tonight, 30 games tonight. It's already here, and I am so far behind in college baseball. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, season's underway. Opening weekend was Friday, and now you're going to have nothing but college baseball on every single day. Unfortunately, though, you've got to have ESPN Plus to see most of them, but you can follow us along and we'll keep you updated.
You can also follow the guys on their social media accounts. They're all over X at The Insiders, and you can check out more collegebaseballinsiders.com. Q, you were here first in the green room because Gris was doing his hair and then put a hat on, so none of that mattered. But I'll ask you the question first. Who did you watch this first weekend that made you go, oh, they might not be that bad?
That was Oklahoma for me, down in Globe Life. Matt got to see him firsthand in person. I got to watch on the big screen this week with the kids. They looked like a team that, we just didn't really know what the expectations were heading into the season, kind of middle of the row. And then you looked at Cam Johnson, LJ Mercurius, and some of the bats throughout the entire tournament. Like, man, these guys, they came to ball, and they definitely seemed like they were willing to go out there and, essentially for blood, and they proved to a lot of teams like, hey, we're in this. We're not just the middle of the row, and that definitely caught my eye.
And they were 80-1, you had mentioned before we started. Now I see FanDuel 45-1. As is often the case when teams are playing, books will take these prices down. But, Matt, there's a good chance that we might see a 35 or a 40 on Oklahoma. As you know, it doesn't take much at 80 or 70-1. It takes a couple bets. But then when people watch it happen, the books want to get ahead of that for sure.
Yeah, we've seen it with Oklahoma too, where they'll start hot and then kind of fizzle out. They did a really good job last year on the mound. This year, it's kind of offensively that they've looked really good. Sunday was the starter that was a true freshman. That was kind of the question mark, but he came out. Cole Rager absolutely pitched his butt off. So if they can stay healthy, I think between Cameron Johnson, Mercurius, and Cole Rager or whoever else they have in that Sunday slot, they'll be able to compete in the SEC, and I think that would be a way to go ahead and bet them to win the regular season in the SEC.
I feel like every year I ask you guys the same question. Why should I bet somebody outside the SEC to win the whole thing? And you guys laugh and say, I don't know. And then we go down the rabbit hole and we talk about teams from the Big Ten or the West Coast or wherever. And more times than not, it's you get to the College World Series, and in the final 8 teams, there's 5 SEC teams or 4 SEC teams. We know about LSU. We know about Arkansas. Who are some maybe second-tier SEC teams that we need to follow the next couple of months?
I'm going to jump ahead of Q since he stole my Oklahoma answer for the pick. I thought I should be able to get to talk about him because I saw him in person, but whatever. Texas. Look, Texas is not second tier. I know you specifically asked that, but you've got Arkansas, LSU. You've got Texas 17-1 to win it all. I was really impressed, although Q just said that they were losing in a midweek, so shocker there. But Texas looked really good on the mound, and I think with Carson Tenney, the transfer from Notre Dame, I think they're going to have a pretty good offense as well. So that's a team right now that if you don't have a single ticket and your prerequisite is that you want a top 10 team that was preseason and you want a team from the SEC, I think Texas is the answer to that.
Okay. Q, same question to you.
If we're going to go SEC, I'll piggyback, and I hate to steal his, but Texas. I mean, they just Friday through Sunday, they just look so complete. But how about this? How about I'll give you a non-SEC team? I know we always tell you you're crazy, but I do think one team kind of sticks out this year, and I think it's going to be North Carolina. When you look at their staff, they look so good from the pitching staff and then the offense, like Gavin Gallagher, their unsung hero every time they're in the super regionals. He's a guy like they have a transfer first baseman. The kid just absolutely mashes the ball. I believe it's Eric Paulson. I mean, they just have an offensive unit that they're not going to score 15 runs a game, but they're going to consistently score. And then when you have one of the best back end bullpens and best starting rotations, it's pretty hard to beat that.
Was it last year when North Carolina fell apart, right? Weren't they up? They were up like 3-2 in the 6th inning, and then the second baseman kicked the ball into right field, and then they were down 5-3. And I know that doesn't matter. I hear North Carolina, and I'm like, oh no, was that this year?
I know.
Or the year before? I can't remember. Either way.
Well, last year they lost.
Or are you talking about a regional?
It was in the tournament for sure. They got far, and I think they lost in the final 8.
That was against Arizona last year.
Oh, God.
Yeah, super regional.
I was sitting in this room, and you know how that always works. The broadcaster's like, "Oh, Carolina's defense is elite," and then the kid kicked the ball into right field. I'm like, God.
Wait, was it last year that I cursed? Was it North Carolina where they won the first game like 20-0 though?
That was it. They smothered
North Carolina to Omaha, Sharpie. I said that, and literally y'all lost the next 2 games.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And I had a really good ticket. I think we got.
You were hot on them.
Well, you guys told me last year. I mean, we were on a couple teams, but the one that because it's one thing, and you guys have learned this over the years. People don't follow everything you do, but you guys both gave me a list of teams, and for some reason I migrated to Carolina at 30-1 or 25-1, and they were rolling. They rolled through conference, they get in, and then you're like, oh, okay, I can make some money with this as long as they win this series. They got so close. Okay, just to re-rack for everybody, let's go back to 2017. LSU, Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, Miss State, Vandy, Oregon State, and Florida. So that's why I always ask every year. It's like, which SEC team do we like? Because the proof is in the pudding.
They just have the horses.
Every year since then, it has been a preseason top 10 team that's won it all. So you could really narrow it down, almost like the theory for using Kim Pom in college basketball, which I know you follow the theory of, top 40 and offensive adjusted, yada, yada, yada. We have that for college baseball for the last 10 years. It's like top 25 strength of schedule, preseason top 10, top 25 pitching staff. I think every winner has won it for the last decade. And that keeps the list pretty short.
Which team, again, I'm asking because I am so far behind here. I'm just catching up on college basketball, and I'm glad you guys are here because you could paint the picture. Which program has the best rotation right now in the country?
I think it's still too early. I think Texas is definitely in that conversation with Volantis, Luke Harrison, Ruger Rojas.
Yeah,
Arkansas,
I think you have
to be determined. Florida to be determined because there's some question marks for the Friday guy. For Arkansas, it's Saturday guy. But Q?
I think you have a lot of like 1A, 1B, 1Cs right now. North Carolina, Texas. You could throw Florida and Arkansas in the 2-3. LSU always ramps it up at the end. So it's kind of too early to tell, but you have a lot of good staffs. Oregon State is probably 1C. So you have a lot right there. The top 5 is just star-studded group. And then you have another 3 or 4 behind them that could equally, take pound for pound the same thing.
So quick follow-up then, since we got into Friday guys, and as you guys know, we used to have Friday guys at UIC. We never had Saturday guys. We had a Friday guy, and then by Saturday, we were into the bullpen in the 5th inning. But there are these guys every year that you can just trust every Friday. And, of course, those are the guys that are your glorified aces, and they take the ball in game 1 of a series. You've mentioned a couple names already, but if there's a guy that we're going to put into a parlay every Friday, who is it?
Just pitcher?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dax Whitney.
Jason DeCaro from North Carolina.
Yeah, DeCaro.
Okay.
I think Cam Flukie from Coastal. He's one of the best Friday night guys. Kason Evans from LSU. I mean, there is just some absolute studs on the Friday. The problem is it's the Saturday and the Sunday where you
that's
get
actually that's a good graphic idea for us to churn out, because like forever we did it was Hagan Smith, Paul Skeens. Like you could do that every week for Arkansas LSU moneyline parlay. We got to figure out like the parlay partners on the mound.
I had a buddy who used to do things like that, only it was never enough. He would take, and it wasn't the Hagan Smith, Paul Skeens year. We're going back a few years. He found like 3 Friday guys that he liked, and 2 of them were well known. Maybe the third was sort of under the radar. But then he'd take those 3 and parlay with 3 other guys. So now we need 6 guys to deliver on Friday. And he'd be like, I hit 4, I hit 5. I'm like, don't care. Like,
you lost.
So, yeah, I mean, like, because, well, to be fair, if you're ahead, not that you're going to be ahead of a guy like Paul Skeens or Hagan Smith for that matter, who I believe is still in the White Sox organization.
Hopefully he gets called up this year.
They need the help for sure, because they're starting guys that shouldn't be in the show, but they are rebuilding. If you're ahead of the next guy, like you might get him at minus 180 or minus 200 in February or March, but then by March, April, he's minus 300. So you might be able to get a few Fridays where you get these guys relatively cheap. I'm curious, if you did a Skeens and a Hagan Smith money line when they were in college, what's that, minus 200 total?
No, it was less than that, because usually you get them minus 280 to minus 340. So
the books were asleep.
Together,
Yeah,
like minus 180, minus 160.
Yeah, and then you add a third guy or a team at minus 150. Now you're even money, right? You're like plus 100. So that's just something to think about if you're looking. These guys just gave you a list of guys, and don't ask me to recite them. I will watch this back and remember them, but I couldn't pick these kids out of a lineup at this point. But if you can find a guy that you could key in on Friday, I mean, it's a free leg. You just got to find the other leg or 2 to pair it with.
Yeah, and not to shamelessly plug the Diamond Report again, but we've got that information in there. You can 100%. See pitching staff, the Friday guy, look for a returner, junior, senior, somebody that had a low Sierra. If you want to get nerdy and get into the skill interactive ERA, it's more predictive than ERA, so focus on that. And we're going to keep you updated if you're following us along on Twitter throughout the year. I always do a graphic that's like top 8 teams in weighted runs created, top 8 teams in Sierra, because those are the teams that you end up seeing in Omaha. Now, obviously, early on in the season, there's going to be some statistical anomalies with, like a VMI that's up there and weighted runs created, and you're like, who the hell is this team? But then they go out and they upset a Wake Forest in the midweek. So you can use it multiple ways. And that's really, about 4 years ago, I dove into all the nerd stuff. And for a guy that failed algebra, it kind of is cool now that I get to use math in a profitable way.
If you are watching on YouTube, you can see it. If you're listening, thediamondreport.com. That's the website where you can find over 500 hours of research, eval, and analysis. And at the bottom, you can click that button that says Get the Diamond Report. So that's where you could find that. And I have seen it. I have already showed it to you. 200 pages. I mean, these guys have forgotten some of the stuff that they've written. It's just there's so much of it to get through. And then if you're looking for the day-to-day, you can also go here, collegebaseballinsiders.com, same website as last year. Everything you need, breakdowns, advanced stats, live stats. So they have the feeds and all that. There's our Carolina team against Richmond. God, Carolina. When you said Carolina Q, I just kind of died a little bit on the inside.
I don't mean to give you PTSD.
No. It happens on my own. Didn't need your help. I couldn't remember. And then it was 2 years ago when I had that Florida ticket, and they lost.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Hey, Sam, real quick, hover over the stadium icon. I want to show you something we integrated this year.
Click it or hover?
Yeah, just hover. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So we have on that for North Carolina, for instance, so their home field advantage based off the average runs allowed for the entire league and average runs allowed there is 2.89. North Carolina playing at Beauchamp, it is huge advantage. Runs per game, 12.63. It's all right there for you. That is stuff that you can't find anywhere else, to our knowledge. If you can find it online, congratulations. But shout out to our guy Nick, who builds our website. He integrated that this year, and it should really help the model as far as picking projections.
Now you got me curious. I'm going to just mouse over to Tennessee and see what their home field is worth. 3.37. Woo! Even better at Lindsey Nelson.
Look at that. 13.5 runs per game. So a whole run ahead.
Wow.
Also, just for the record, North Carolina won 10-0. What did the model have it?
The model had
10-3.
Carolina 9-3. Yeah.
9-3.
Right
Okay.
there.
We'll take it.
And see, I picked Carolina. That was the first team I said, so that was not even planned or orchestrated. We just sometimes we know what we do. I wanted to show the board because, as we said, there are games tonight, and I'm curious how you guys have changed over the years, because I think initially when we start betting, we're taught different things, and this is just the odds logic board of the college baseball games today. I remember, I had guys tell me, oh, well, if it moved from -140 to -155, you can't bet it. And I think in college baseball, I mean, obviously you want to lay the best of the number, but that initial move is sometimes a baby step or two. I mean, some of these lines will move 40 cents. So how far is too far? If a game opens 150 and it's sitting 166, are you guys the same bettors you were with that 16-cent move that you were years ago? Do you attack it the same way?
I do now. Like I truly, it's a gut of just, okay, I've looked at the numbers. I know what the line should be. At this point, I know it's going to move. And DraftKings is notorious for moving the same increments. It's like it may open -120 and then it goes to -166 and then it's -190 or whatever. You can definitely track like where all the money is coming in on. Perfect example. The other night I texted a buddy of mine that I said, hey, put a I'm not trying to like incriminate myself, but put a bet in on this line, and he didn't do it till the morning. And it was Kansas State -180 is what it opened up at, and it was against Penn State. Q, do you remember what it was the next morning when you bet it? Was it 220, 240?
No, I mean I got it around that 180, but yeah, it skyrocketed.
That's what happens when these guys that are so good at baseball. Well, but it doesn't, like I always tell people, like I don't bet at DraftKings or FanDuel anymore. And guys are like, why not? I'm like, because I'm not giving them my information for $33. And they go, well, what do you mean? Oh, hot shot. I'm like, no, if I bet this mid-major basketball team under 133, I'm going to get limited if I'm not already limited. And then they're going to just move my line a half a point or a point on a $40 bet. And I don't want to give them that information. But if you have a winning player betting at DraftKings and he makes that bet on Wake Forest against High Point, forget it.
The problem is it's so volatile, right? And it only takes a few dollars in college baseball to move a line. You don't have to drop 100,000 like in an NFL series or matchup. It's if you like a team, like you've got to either make that decision early to go with your gut, or obviously stalk the book lines and really start looking at, the next day as the games are playing. So you have that edge, but you got to either trust your gut or you're just going to have to pass or find a parlay piece. Like that 40% jump is very common in the sport. And you're either going to ride it or you're not. It's
you're going to see a lot of -298s, which is such a random number.
245s.
No,
298 is a good
you
jump.
guys don't play those. I mean, I shouldn't blanket this, but I doubt you guys are laying 280 every day. Is that just right into a parlay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I usually don't do more than a 2-team parlay.
You start getting 3 teams.
It's like Sunday I gave out Arkansas Wake Forest moneyline parlay, and it got it to +105 with 2 odds that were -298 and -305 was Wake. But the run line was -2.5. Well, guess what? If you played the run line in Arkansas, they lost because they absolutely collapsed in the end, took Texas Tech to extra innings. And yes, I gave out Arkansas -2.5. So thank God the Wake Forest Demon Deacons and Arkansas Razorbacks were able to hold on. But it's like it's not even bettable at that point, -2.5. Now I thought Arkansas was going to win that 10-0 because Texas Tech looked atrocious all weekend. But the run, I don't like the run line. Q may be able to say it differently, but the run line in college baseball looks like a lock until it's not, because it's kids and metal bats, man, and bullpens that are terrible, especially on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, the good thing nowadays, granted on Sunday, I'm sure these teams are mostly playing around the same time, but I mean, 10 years ago when we started betting, you couldn't live bet. So if you had two favorites at -280 and -300, and the first one played at 11 Central and the second one played at 2 Central, if the first favorite won and the second favorite's up 4-1 in the second inning, we can now just live bet the dog at plus whatever. So we're able to do that now. You couldn't do that 10 years ago. I will remind people what I said. I don't know if it was last year or the year before when we were talking, the three of us. And one of the sharpest college baseball guys that I talked to says that, money line parlaying in college baseball is the best. And he goes, you know how I know that? Because there are Vegas books that don't let you do it. I said, okay, that's fair enough. Like if Vegas isn't going to let you take two favorites and marry them together, maybe there's a lot more truth there than meets the eye, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say. I think in the whole sport itself, it's either take an under, take an over or a money line. Anything else like an under, you could be sitting, it could be 13.5 and you're sitting at 7 runs in the bottom of the 8th and you lose it. Same thing with the run lines, like Matt said. It's back end bullpens that are 18, 19-year-old kids and metal bats can change. Perfect example, Louisville was up 9-1 in the second. I go to get dinner real quick. 20 minutes later, I check the score. It's 9-9 in the fourth. And you're like, all right, this is how the baseball season is going to go. And you just got to chalk it up. Like as I said earlier, you got to roll with your gut and ride with it. But those money line parlays are really probably the most profitable thing, or just money lines in general.
Imagine if you had this over today. This Xavier Louisville total closed at 15.5. The final score was 23-11.
They're going to start that at 21.5.
We should probably take the under, no?
No, I mean, Louisville, I'll tell you right now, I think they got Matt Grissom on Fridays, Sammy on Saturdays, and throwing Q on Sundays at this point. I heard they got open tryouts tomorrow.
23-11. Good grief. Yeah, where do you even open that the next game? Like, who even knows?
Hey, hats off to Xavier, though. They opened the schedule against East Carolina, play a midweek at Louisville. Then they go to Baum Walker to take on Arkansas this weekend. They get Cal State Fullerton, then a 4-game series against Oregon State. It's like they scheduled everybody in the top 10 and said, come on, bring it.
It's murderer's row.
Yeah, we don't want to play at home. We'll come to you, and we'll see what happens. You gotta love it.
You gotta respect it.
Before I bring in my next guest, and we can maybe do a little crosstalk here, I asked some very exceptional questions, if I say so myself. But if I wanted to say that there's something you wanted to get in before we get to our next guest, like take this wherever you want. Q, you can go first. Anything college baseball related you'd like to share before we turn the page?
Yeah, just don't get sucked into what you saw in week 1. Let these teams kind of ride it out. There's some teams that maybe underperformed. There's some teams that overperformed. I said Oklahoma. Matt was exactly right saying they started hot last year and, towards the end they fizzled out. So give it a couple weeks before you really start trying to make an assumption of what this team's going to be like is my thing. Because this is, again, college students and metal bats can change things and pitching staffs can evolve. So just give it a couple weeks before you start making judgment.
What about you, Matt?
I've got the perfect segue to Q's answer because, yes, we have a very small sample size. But I will say right now, as I alluded to earlier with the top 8 and weighted runs created and top 8 in Sierra, which is just a nerdy way of saying really good at hitting, really good at pitching. Number 1 in hitting right now, leading the country in weighted runs created, is Miami. They sit at number 8 in team pitching. So could the Hurricanes perhaps sneak into winning the ACC and making a run to Omaha? Really, like their football team did. I don't think anybody had Miami's football team. Maybe Bear being as good as they were this past year. The only other team that coincides in the top 25 in each is Tennessee at number 7 in hitting, number 4 in pitching. So those would be 2 teams that I'd be paying attention to.
And Tennessee 17-1 at FanDuel. Miami 40-1. One of those things is not like the other.
You start talking about strength of schedule and everything else. So we'll see. We'll keep monitoring that as the season progresses, though.
Now on the show, if you're watching or listening, you can see him if you're watching. You will hear him shortly if you're listening. He does Hasan's Hacks on Substack, and he also works for Game Day Garage, which I will drill him about later in the show. Jake Hasan joining the party. Since we're all here, and Jake, obviously you just hopped in. You heard us talking on the tail end there about Miami. If I had $100 and I just dropped it right here and said the 3 of you have to agree on one team to bet right now, who is it?
I still really like Texas. I don't know how Grissom and Q feel, but like I still feel like Texas is bounced back from the disappointment last year, and there is nothing that they did this weekend where I'm like, yeah, I'm not moving off that spot. So I don't know where you guys are at. I think Texas for me.
Well, Matt's going to say Arkansas, so we know that.
I would have said that he watched the entire show backstage because we both talked about Texas.
Yeah, we both Texas, yeah.
So that's the move then right now, because we're going to have a lot of people that tune into the show that haven't watched a lick and don't know anything, less than me, which is almost nothing in college baseball. We're going to have some bets on Texas. Like tomorrow night, that 16-1 is going to be gone because of this show.
I like it.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a lot less dramatic than I thought.
Yeah, you don't have to my arm. Texas was a preseason bet. I got them 20-1 to win the SEC. They won it last year, and they're better this year.
Yeah.
What are they now to win? Oh, 5-1 at DraftKings to win.
And then
SEC.
Arkansas jumped to be the favorite. They were 10-1. I took Arkansas and Texas. And then when I started going on shows and talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I like Texas and Arkansas, they avoided each other. And that is huge for winning the regular season because you're only talking about 30 games. Arkansas and Texas both avoided Arkansas and Texas and LSU. All right, Texas just won it last year, and now all of a sudden they're, I think, 4th behind Arkansas, LSU, Georgia.
Yeah, I think they're sitting 10-1.
That does not make sense to me.
Oh, the only other thing that I didn't get to, as I remember this on the flight, we didn't talk about Golden Spikes.
Is there a market out right now?
There is one offshore. I know that. There's probably not a lot up right now because again, these games are going on as we tape this on a Tuesday night. But who are the guys we need to know that are going to contend for Golden Spikes?
Drew Burris.
Yeah, the cover guy of the Diamond Report is Drew Burris.
Ace Reese.
That's my pick, Ace Reese.
Henry Ford's another one to watch out for. Tennessee, small ballpark.
He's a match.
The
a lot of home
Henry?
runs in
The Henry
Tennessee's
Ford?
shoebox of the stadium.
I'm trying to think. Cade Sorrell at Texas A&M, left-hander. He absolutely matched the ball this weekend. I want to say he was like 150-1 or something like that to start. So that's a name to know.
Player of the week in the SEC.
I'll say if you want to go like the Sammy route, like Sam, how you did for Heisman, like two-way player, like Kenny Ishikawa at Georgia is going to pitch and he's an insane hitter. It's like 15-1, I think, is the market now. But history, guy who doesn't do it that like is in the SEC big stage, gets all the love for doing the two-way player thing. I think that's fun. I don't know, Q and Matt, where you guys are at with Miles Bailey too. I took a shot on him 100-1 before the season. I think 50 is still out there. Dude who could set the home run record that Charlie Condon just did 2 years ago.
Word on the street is that they're still trying to find that first baseball he hit.
Yeah, he's like 6'7", 270. Like he's a mountain of a man. Like he touches the ball and it's across state lines. So I still think big numbers on him are way good too.
We've been here 5 minutes with Jake, and he's already said 2 ways, playing both ways, and mountain of a man. Let's see where we get by the end of the show. What about the kid who the White Sox are going to take? Rock. Is he not worth it? UCLA?
UCLA kind of struggling.
He's just so short, though.
Yeah, I would never bet the favorite in this market.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I will tell you this: never bet the favorite, and never bet a pitcher. Because if Paul Skeens couldn't win it in 2023 with what he did, in my opinion, was head and shoulders above Dylan Cruz, then a pitcher really has no business ever winning this award, because I don't think anybody will have a performance as good as Paul Skeens did in 2023.
All right. I think that's a perfect place to end it. Quentin Mills, Matt Grissom, the Insiders on X, College Baseball Insiders, and the website collegebaseballinsiders.com. If you're looking for that guide, again, the diamondreport.com. I don't think I can pump anything else. So get the hell out of my show. See you guys later.
We'll see you.
Peace out. I love talking to those guys every year. They bring the heat, and Jake Hasan does too. So
Hey,
I asked, what are we plugging here? And I have your Hasan hacks here. And unfortunately, right at the top, it says this website has been breached.
Sick. Awesome.
Great start. Great start to data breach on this website 4 months ago, though. So
okay. Well, it's only been up for like 3 weeks. So I don't know how that's possibly true.
We'll just turn that off real quick.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Hasan's hacks right here, hasanshacks.substack.com. We'll talk about the Game Day Garage in a second. I asked those guys, right off the top, like, what did you learn the first weekend? Not that there's a ton to learn because it's only a small window of games, but what did you take away from the first weekend?
One team that I walked away from where I was like, ooh, might have been really wrong about knocking these guys down, because people asked me about TCU coming into the year, and they entered the year in the rankings and they had a lot of hype offensively, but then they just come out first weekend, pow, win over top 10 Vanderbilt, pow, win over top 10 Arkansas on a neutral site. So for me, I was willing to readjust my goalposts, I guess, to cross sports here and think that I might have been wrong about TCU. But elsewhere, I mean, like Q said it, try not to fall victim to like the first weekend overreaction. Like these are still series. Like even if a team dropped one game on the weekend, if they still went 2-1, it's a pretty good weekend for those teams. I also, though, might have been way wrong about Louisville because like Q was saying, they're basically fielding me and you and the absent Joe Ostrowski to pitch games at this point. It's not good for that team. So Louisville kind of starting to think they might not be as good, and TCU may be true title contenders.
Well, I don't want to get too excited here, but when you look at the board and you see that they scored 23 runs today, that's going to take some time, I think, for the books to maybe get on to. I mean, they're going to obviously have higher totals, but I mean, when you're 20 runs higher than the total, because then that's the old debate. Like if I'm booking bets and these two teams played tomorrow, where do I start it? Okay, it closed 15.5 today. The starters would be worse tomorrow, so we're naturally going to drive it up a little bit. But if I made it 18.5, there might be somebody somewhere that says that's too high and bet a nickel and drive it down. So I don't know that it's easy. If their staff is that bad and their offense is that great, it might take another couple of weeks to actually get to the right number on the total.
Yeah, I mean, and that creates betting opportunity for us on a game to game where, someone at the book is saying, surely this can't keep happening. And then it keeps happening and it keeps happening. And the number maybe gets to 19 or 20 and it's still not high enough. Eventually we're going to go too far on this and the unders will start hitting. But I mean, for now, no reason not to take those over.
Fair enough. A non-SEC team that you love, who is it?
A non-SEC team that I love. I mean, Matt was onto something with Miami, I think, because they were a team coming into the year where I was sitting here, and to use an old Bet Sweats term, I was hovering. I sat there and I sat there and I sat there and I couldn't do it. And now after this first week, I'm like, okay, I'm closer. I'm still hovering, which maybe says more about me than anything else. But their team I was talking about this with somebody else. Like, we think about the SEC as this powerhouse that they always win. And granted, the last couple of years, especially, that's been true. But I think the ACC is catching up really fast. When you talk about teams like North Carolina, Clemson, Florida State, now throw Miami in there. Everybody wants to love Georgia Tech. I'm kind of on them. But I think the ACC is a conference that's very much catching up. I will say a team outside of the SEC I want nothing to do with, who you brought up, UCLA, keep them. They're going to beat up on a crappy Big Ten all year. And then they're going to get to the tournament, and I think they're going to get punched in the mouth by like the third best team out of the SEC or the second best team in the Big 12. And I think they're kind of going to get embarrassed and probably not even win their own regional. But that's 4 months from now. We could cross that bridge in a couple months.
I can't wait to get that text when we get into the tournament and Jake's like, we're bombing Coastal Carolina, UCLA. Like something like that, like some team that we would never think to bet.
Some mid-major.
Yeah, exactly. Northern Illinois, or who was the team? Was it last year or 2 years ago? Was it Northeastern made a run? Right? Didn't they make a run in the last couple
Northeastern
of years?
they were like the sexy team that they didn't make a run, but like UT Arlington was the team that upset Texas's region last year, and Texas was the number 1 seed. So yeah, I mean, you always get one of those teams like Oral Roberts a few years ago. Like, all right, sure.
Wow.
Like,
Everybody bets that one though, right?
Now they do, yeah.
Yeah. Well, for other reasons. So you didn't push the button on Miami yet, though, huh?
No, I think I want to see it maybe one more weekend. Like I'm willing to lose a little bit of value. I'm willing to let the price come down a little bit, just because also I'm not worried about losing too much. Like, if it shifts a couple dollars, it shifts a couple dollars. But I'd rather let my eyeballs confirm to me, okay, this team is actually good, and let them continue to prove it to me for another week or two. I was hovering. I think by the end of the month, I'll be willing to say, okay, we're either hitting the button or we're walking away.
Right. And for those that don't remember the hovering story, that was what I used to always tell Joe about when you have a bet, when you're on your phone, in your app, the bet is selected, the value is placed into the phone, and you still can't quite hit the button.
Seahawks Super Bowl.
Seahawks NFC 30-1. Yep. Hovered on that one way too long. I didn't bring protection that day. That's why I hovered.
Right.
Not to be confused with the did you push the button, which was different. I honestly, there's a lot of things I don't miss. I do miss those 3 hours together. I do. I miss the show a ton.
I think not to sidetrack to it, I miss you being in that studio and Joe or Paul say something and me and you just turn and look at each other, and then it's just we both have to mute. Like we both have to turn our mics off because we're just laughing. Like, it's just or I also miss the gummy bears, 4 of them exactly being spread on the desk, obviously.
No, that's not true. I spread them in rainbow order. I laid all 6 across, so that's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. I laid 6 gummy bears out. You were just so appalled though that, like, because our show is 8 to 11 Central Time. So when I'm back home, we're up early. I'm up at 6. Yeah. I'm getting to work at 7:30. We're on the air at 8. And I didn't like tell you what I was going to do because that defeats the purpose. But like you said something like 1 minute back or whatever, and I just reach into my book bag and pull out a baseball sized handful of gummy bears and just shove. And you are just sick. You are appalled.
I wasn't appalled. I was shocked because then we're coming out the rejoins playing your like just.
Oh, I'll never forget too, and we'll get back into college baseball here, but it's good to see you. Last time I saw you, that was the Christmas episode, and that was just unorganized chaos every which way. There was a full-on party at my brother's house, and you showed up with shades on, and that was Santa hat, right, for sure. And then I can't remember. My brother's internet wasn't working, so it took like 2 hours to upload that show. But the first Christmas that we had. So that would have been Christmas 24 into January 25. And Joe and we had that one day where we came back like January 2nd or 3rd back from work or back from vacation. And we opened up the show, and Joe's like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm just fat." Right now." And we laid out everything that we had eaten because I was home for 2 weeks, and that was when Joe was stealing his kids' cosmic brownies and eating them at 2 a.m. or whatever when he was roaming around for a snack. And we didn't, believe it or not, Odyssey didn't exactly have the greatest setup for our show. And I didn't have a computer stand like this, like I have right now. I had to go into the 670 The Score locker room and steal a Willie the Wildcat bobblehead. And that was my computer stand. They didn't have a ring. Remember the day?
I was just gonna bring this up.
The engineer brought in that like bicycle light that you would put on a spoke.
That then died immediately too. The last like 10 minutes, died right away.
It looked like I was in bed holding a flashlight on my face. Like that's how poorly and Mitch is like, yeah, like the engineer is gonna bring a light for you guys. And it couldn't have been bigger than this remote.
No,
and it had the horsepower of a Kit Kat bar. Like so the light just slowly died, and then I'm like, what do you want me to do here?
We tried,
yeah, but so those cameras because we didn't, and the cameras didn't exactly work. That camera didn't work, so we had to use this camera, and the camera was like shooting up my face, not down. So I was just
had the lockers behind you. Had like the old school like 3-drawer locker behind you.
Yeah, I mean, great times for sure. Last year I had a bet on North Carolina, and I think I had a bet on Virginia to win the whole thing. And obviously Virginia like fell off a cliff and did nothing. Carolina was solid until they met Arizona, which we already reminisced about. So you like Texas.
Yep.
You're shorting UCLA. You're hovering Miami. How about that? I asked those guys about, not the favorites, not the LSU, UCLA, Arkansas, and you gave Texas already, so you did give another one. What about Georgia, Coastal, Oregon State, Vanderbilt, Alabama? Like, have I hit any nerves yet?
Yeah, Oregon State is a team that's been really popular. My only thing with them is like, I always struggle with these West Coast teams, especially Oregon State being independent. And then kind of like I was saying with UCLA, where UCLA is going to go through the Big Ten, very weak conference. And then Oregon State goes through an independent schedule. And then you get to the tournament and blam, here's the ACC. Blam, here's SEC. These teams who have been iron sharpening iron all year long for 30 games. And you're just not ready for it. But Oregon State has 2 of the best pitchers in the country at the top of their rotation. And that's always going to get me excited because you need good pitchers to win. Look what LSU did this past year when they won it all. They had a guy go number 3 overall, and then they had another kid go in the second round. Like you need those top tier starting pitchers, and Oregon State definitely has one. So they're another team that's closer to the top that I would be interested in and that I think could definitely make a run. And I think we have to run back North Carolina too. If you're hovering on them, I think they're going to be there again too, because they're just so consistently there. They're so consistently good that they're a well-oiled machine. Like they're just going to be there. So if you're looking to the top of the board, like I'm super bullish on Texas. Like I will say Texas 10 times out of 10. But if you're looking in that sphere, I do think a North Carolina and I do think an Oregon State are 2, your second and third banana options that are also going to be in Omaha and among the final 8.
Blam Moon. Okay. All right. So I'm thinking I'm going to probably in the next 48 hours, I'm flying to Florida end of the week. So I'm going to have to do it before I leave because then I'll miss all the weekend action. I'll probably make 3 bets, and these might just be like a couple $100 a pop. North Carolina. Again, FanDuel is the only book up right now as we tape this. North Carolina is 22-1. Oregon State is 25-1. And then Texas is 16-1. Those would probably be, given what you've said and what Q and Gris said, those would probably be the 3. And then, of course, LSU will win the whole thing. But I think that's a pretty nice triangle there. Texas, North Carolina, Oregon State. It's so Oregon State to me, and maybe I'm wrong here because you're the expert. I'm not. Oregon State, when I called games 10 years ago, Oregon State had the best pitching staff and like a top 3 defense. and it's still sort of the case, right? So I feel like they're just the consistency of those two things, and then they lose the game where they can't hit. They lose 2-1 or 3-2. But it's the same team in the sense that Tom Izzo, college basketball, has the same team at Michigan State every year. I know what I'm getting with Oregon State. I'm going to get good pitching, solid bullpen, and a really great defense.
Yeah, and those three, like you're talking about the triangle of bets that we have, like all three, you get to June, you get to tournament, all three of those teams are probably hosting their own regional too. So for a while, they're not even going to see each other. You could have all three of them in Omaha. You could have 3 of the 8, and you're feeling awesome too. So I think that's a good way to go about it too, of trying to get that portfolio of teams that can host their own regional and can avoid seeing each other for the longest time too.
Tell us about the Game Day Garage and what you're doing there.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just going to be whenever there's big games, like we had opening weekend on Friday, and I had a bet on UC Santa Barbara. Speaking of mid-majors, they went 1-2, so that Omaha ticket, probably not awesome, but hey, long season. But, just basically kind of, it's like a bastardization of the old B&B show. Like come in live, drop some bets, hang out, talk a little bit. Let's talk about whatever bets are on the card that day, what's upcoming, and we'll go through it and we'll hang out for an hour, maybe an hour and a half instead. It'll be a little bit longer format, and then do weekly stuff too. I'm going to be doing a podcast, kind of more short form video. That's going to be later in this week to give people the college baseball bets, and going to be doing that. And then is also, assuming the site isn't compromised, Hasan's Tax on Substack too will also be Major League Baseball once we get into that, and we'll do a little bit of both. I can't believe that. That's probably, you're the first person to bring that up. That's probably why people can't pay for the damn subscription. Substack's like, oh, we'll just keep trying with the bank. Sometimes you got to try a couple times. No, it's probably because your site's got a data breach, you doofuses.
To be fair, I mean, I figured we should just talk through this together because, that's, if I hit refresh on hasanshacks.substack.com, there, the alert went away. So I think everything's safe now.
Awesome.
I think the great team at Hasan's Hacks was working behind the scenes to get rid of the big
our R&D team was on it.
Big red bar at the top that said "Do not subscribe."
do not click on this site. You will get 17 viruses.
Yeah, there's the post right there. First baseball card of the year. Yeah. So that was your first in-season post. You've also got some AL Cy Young bets here. Ooh, a 17-1 home run prop. Oh,
yeah. You want it? Okay. You want it right now?
Why don't you make the people sign up?
Yeah, sure. That go to the Substack. That's still up. I believe that number is still up. I don't think it. Sure, let's just say it's up. We'll just say it's up. Go check it out.
It went the other way, actually. Now it's 20-1.
Yeah. Right.
I like this post right here. This is not bet slips and bat flips. Don't call it that. Anyway, here's a bet. That's the thing. People just want bets. And I said this when the show started this evening. I don't think that people are going to follow every bet, but people are going to, I promise you, people that are listening that love Chicken Dinner are going to listen to the show and hear us talking about the 3 teams that we just discussed, and they're going to pick one. They're not going to pick 3. They're going to pick one. I personally, I promise, knock on wood, I will bet all 3 for $200 a pop, $600. That's what, February, March, April, May, 5 months of entertainment. That's better than YouTube TV, which, by the way, is $92 a month now. I found that out today.
Again? It went up again?
I was looking through I was on my Chase app, and I was like, I was like, I freaked out because when I signed up, it was $59.99.
Oh my God.
Now it's $92.99. And to be honest with you, unless it's a live sport, I don't even watch YouTube TV. Like I'm so far away from the live TV. I watch Netflix, Amazon Prime. I don't even have ESPN Plus anymore because it's the principal. But here's the thing. You probably need ESPN Plus to watch all these baseball games.
Well, that's why I texted you. I was like, I was going to text you for your login. And I go, crap, he doesn't have it anymore. Oh, no. That's why I texted you.
We spent a segment on BetSweats when I unsubscribed from ESPN Plus. Because when I signed up for that, it used to be $3.99.
Yeah.
And then it was $4.99. And then it was $6.99. And now it's $12.99.
Yeah, I think it's 12, and that's just for like the baseline. Like you could go up to $39.99 for Hulu and Disney, but also if you just want Hulu and Disney Plus, but not ESPN Plus, it can be $21.99. It is outrageous.
Right. Yeah. $14.99. No, suck me. Not
Suck
happening.
me moon.
But I'm not a big Hulu guy either, and I'm a 36-year-old white male. What do I need Disney Plus for at this point in my life?
What you're not watching Bluey? Like you're good.
No, I'm not watching Bluey. This is the part of the show where you get to ask me a question, and I will answer it no matter what.
Oh wow! I wish I had more time to prepare.
I'm glad you did it.
Actually, you did say something because how long are you going to be in Florida for?
Thursday through Tuesday.
Yeah, never mind. Because I'm going at the end of the month, so I was maybe we were going to be able to make something happen there. But
you had one question and you asked how long I'm going to be in Florida for.
Because there's some questions that I know I shouldn't ask, and we should just leave to our text thread. But I don't know. You want to go to a Western Illinois game soon? Western Illinois basketball.
Yes, I would. Women's basketball, though, not men's.
Yeah, yes.
I thought for sure. I mean, you had carte blanche. I thought you were going to ask me about the Sox Fest after party, which, whew, Lordy.
See, the thing is, though, I talked to you both that night and the day after. What else do I need to ask? I got all the information already.
On second thought, it's probably for the best.
And also, are you really sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Okay. All right. Well, that went swimmingly, I thought.
Do you want to ask me a question?
No, I don't. I'm good. I would like to, though, plug the very, very risk-free website one more time. hasanshacks.substack.com, where you can find Jake's thoughts, podcast, notes, all that stuff. And you can be a part of the conversation, because this is a sport that I think a lot of people are drawing blind on. In all seriousness, I think people log into their apps, they're bored. Oh, Texas is playing. I like Texas. But Jake actually follows the programs and the coaches and the teams. So it's a really good place for you to find your footing, not only in college baseball, but I imagine you're going to do a ton of Major League Baseball as well. You got to love this time of year, because once we get through Super Bowl, people are looking for something else. And I think most people latch on to college basketball, but then that's only like 6 weeks. And then it's all Jake all summer. So it's perfect.
I will say, I was listening to you guys, the show before the Super Bowl, where you're going through the Super Bowl MVP odds. He goes, what was Jake's stupid rookie of the year triple digit bet? And Joe pulls it up. He goes, Max Clark, 100-1 AL rookie of the year. which is now 50-1.
Oh,
CLV,
great.
CLV, baby.
We did this last year, and we knocked Jack Kaggs from 70 to 1.
Oh, God.
We got Jack Kaggs before he ever took an at-bat in the show. He was 7 or 6-1.
He was plus 750.
And then he didn't get a hit for a month or
then he finished the year with like a 171 batting average. Speaking of long shots, because the people love their long shots. Do you want to take a 150-1 on Golden Spikes?
Yeah. Where do I bet this at?
You like, honestly, I would check like first thing in the morning, like the domestics, they'll keep it up for like 3 seconds. So it'll pop on the, like, I got a couple DMs about this, honestly, because it varies by state too. It's so dumb that there isn't just a blanket, whatever. So I would say wherever you're watching, listening, like your books, just, you got to check. Like, unfortunately, it's kind of on you to check and see when the market is up. But if anybody can find it and does find it for Golden Spikes, 150-1, Chris Rembert from Auburn. He's a sophomore. The dude put up an OPS over 1,000 last year as a true freshman, is in an SEC school, could be the best player on the best offense in the country at triple digits. I mean, Sam, you asked me and Q and Matt, like, what about Chalowski at the top for Golden Spikes? What about Burris? Like, I don't like taking shots, quote unquote, shot moon. Like, I don't like going to the top of the leaderboard for Golden Spikes, because so often year over year, like somebody comes out of nowhere, like somebody just does something insane, whether it's Cholowski last year or Justin LeBron, who was in the conversation last year. Like it's not chalk usually. And so I want to take 1 or 2 shots with guys who I think have a ton of potential, like Miles Bailey from Florida State, who I mentioned earlier. And now this Chris Rembert kid at Auburn, who is now a sophomore after he put up an awesome freshman year, gets the stage of being in the SEC and playing teams like Texas, like Vanderbilt, like these top tier games that'll be on ESPN at some point. So I wanted to take a shot with him, triple digits, just an absolute bomb, and we'll see what happens.
Did you make this bet yet? I've texted you about this many times. It is now 3-1 at best number. This is the Illinois college basketball Final Four run. 3-1, 285, 275, 270. I don't like anything sub 3.
Mm-hmm.
This was like 4-1, 450 6 weeks ago. Now it's 3-1. That's probably the last stop before I get off the train.
I don't like betting the teams I'm already emotionally invested in because I'm so jaded, especially when it comes to Illinois sports and Illinois basketball. I just know I'm going to be hurt. But man, you watch them and it's like, okay, you take the back-to-back losses last week, and that was really frustrating. Back-to-back overtime losses at that, games you theoretically could have won, should have won. But then you just come out, bounce back at home, just bitch slap Indiana. Like it never was even close. So they're really good, man. And every time I talk to people smarter than me, like our friend Isaac Trotter or other people in the college basketball weeds, they all consistently say like, yeah, this team has the upside. Like they have the talent. They're really, really good. Now it's, can you stay healthy and get healthy? Kylan Boswell's back, but now Andreas Stojakovic is out. So it's like, can this team ever be healthy at the same time? And if they are when they get to the tournament, then I don't see any reason why they can't make a run to the Final Four, maybe even the championship.
I have a text that I'd like to read between Jake and I, and it's a nice text. It's not a bad text. I texted Jake on Sunday night at 8:53 p.m. Eastern. Wake up. Jake responded 3 hours later, no. And then I sent the Illinois Final Four odds, and Jake said, "Is that what I think it is?" And then still didn't bet it.
That's me. I hover on teams I'm already emotionally invested in. I can't push the button. I don't want to be hurt twice.
Probably for the best, because Underwood's going to get outcoached by the guy at SLU, and they will lose in the second round. I mean, you think I'm kidding?
But hey, did you push the button?
Yes, I did. Jake Hasan, thank you.
What's her name? Where does she live?
For joining Chicken Dinner. We
Me.
appreciate you. We love you. Jake is just dropping one-liners from Bets.
Yeah, now we're just doing bits that are like a year old.
Yeah, I do remember, and then we'll say goodbye. We had done a show, and we were very giggly. It was one of those shows. And we were going to break, and Joe was trying to wrap up his thoughts and toss a commercial. And I said, "This is the stupidest show on the radio."
I think that was the Telemundo day. I think that was the Telemundo and Button day. Weren't they the same day?
I don't know. That was when I couldn't get up the elevator because she was
the button.
the lady security lady downstairs. I said the elevator's not working, and she asked me if I pushed the button, and I said yes, I did, and it did not work.
I think this was all the same. I think this was Telemundo day.
Yeah, probably. All right.
Wow.
Well, go to Hasan's Hacks, find it on Substack, Game Day Garage. Jake, we love you.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for having me. I missed you. I do miss you, and I love you.